Hook. You'll never forget what this little girl said to a stranger in a business suit. Stay with us till the end, because what happened next will move your soul and prove that love can be found in the most unexpected places. And if this story touches you even a little, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. It really helps us keep telling stories that matter. It was a rainy Thursday afternoon when Alexander Grant, the stoic and famously unreachable billionaire CEO of Grant Enterprises, walked out of yet another board meeting feeling as hollow as the thunderclouds above him. Everything he had built, every skyscraper, every contract, every dollar, meant very little these days. Since losing his wife in a tragic car crash 3 years ago and watching his dreams of fatherhood vanish with her, he had buried himself in work, shutting the world out behind designer suits and chauffeur-driven silence. The world saw him as ruthless, brilliant, a machine of success. But inside, he was just a man grieving the life he never got to live. On this particular day, with his umbrella lost somewhere in the chaos of his rushed schedule, he ducked into the nearest toy store to escape the pouring rain. The warm air inside was a stark contrast to the cold drenching outside, and for a moment, he felt oddly nostalgic, as if some old part of him remembered what joy used to feel like. The store was nearly empty, save for a few mothers browsing shelves and a young employee restocking plush bears. But in the farthest corner, near a display of puzzles, sat a little girl, quiet, alone, and clearly not part of anyone's shopping trip. She had tangled dark hair tied in a faded ribbon and a simple blue dress soaked around the edges. In her tiny hands was a tattered notebook, her small fingers tracing over a crude drawing of a house with stick figures, a girl, a mom, and a blank space where a dad should be. Alex watched her curiously. She didn't look up at the toys. She wasn't begging for attention. She just sat, like the world had forgotten her, and she had quietly decided to forget it back. Something stirred in Alex's chest. Not pity, no, this was deeper, more haunting. He walked toward her slowly, unsure why his heart beat faster with every step. "Hey there," he said gently, crouching down to her eye level. She looked up, startled but not scared. Her eyes, so full of sadness yet carrying the strength of 1,000 disappointments, locked onto his. "Hi," she whispered. "Are you here with someone?" he asked. She shook her head. "I was, but Mommy said she'd come back after her interview." "That was a while ago." Her voice trailed off as she looked at the clock, her small lips tightening. "Do you want a toy?" he offered, trying to shift her sadness. "You can pick anything you like." "My treat." She stared at him, long and searching, as if deciding whether or not he was someone worth talking to. And then came the sentence that would change everything. "Sir," she said softly, "I don't want toys, I want a dad." The words hit him like a truck, paralyzing him in place. He wasn't prepared, not for that. No one could be. It was so raw, so unfiltered, so achingly real. "What's your name?" he asked after a moment, trying to steady the sudden trembling in his voice. "Luna," she said. "My name's Luna. I'm 5 3/4. She held up 6 fingers, then corrected herself with a sheepish grin. 5 3/4, he echoed with a gentle smile. "That's almost 6. That's pretty grown up." She nodded proudly, then looked down. "Mommy says I'm brave. I try to be, especially when she cries at night." Alex blinked hard. He couldn't let himself cry, not in the middle of a toy store. "Where is your mommy now?" "She had a job interview at that big building down the road. She said she'd be back after lunch, but it's dark now." Luna's words landed like stones in his chest. He looked at his watch. It was nearly 6:30 p.m. "Do you know your mommy's name?" he asked. "Ariana. Ariana Ellis." The name echoed in his mind. Familiar. Why did that sound familiar? And then it clicked. Just this morning, he had seen that name on the list of rejected applicants for an entry-level job at his own company. She had applied to be an administrative assistant. His HR team had denied her because she didn't have a college degree. He felt his gut twist. She had come to his office building today, desperate for a job to take care of this little girl. And now her daughter sat alone in a toy store, wanting not dolls or bears, but something no man could just buy. "Come with me," he said gently. "Let's find your mom." She hesitated. "Are you a good guy?" "I'm trying to be," he whispered, more to himself than her. He called his driver and soon, they were in the back seat of a black luxury car, Luna staring out the window, clutching her notebook. Along the way, he asked her simple things. Favorite color, yellow. Favorite cartoon, a French girl detective named Mimi, and favorite snack, peanut butter and jelly with the crusts cut off. She spoke carefully, like a child who had learned early not to expect much, but who still wanted to believe in kindness. When they reached his office building, the receptionist informed him that a woman named Ariana Ellis had left the building in tears earlier that afternoon after being told she was not selected. Did she say where she was going? Alex asked urgently. The receptionist frowned. She said she was going to the park. To think. Which park? The one by East Avenue. He turned to Luna. Let's go find your mom. By the time they reached the park, it was almost dark. Streetlights cast golden halos over wet benches and puddles. And then, near the swings, they saw her, a woman with frizzy hair and red eyes, pacing back and forth like she was torn between screaming and collapsing. "Mommy!" Luna yelled. The woman turned, her expression breaking into disbelief and relief all at once. "Luna!" They ran to each other and collapsed into a hug that made even the skies seem to weep. Ariana looked up, confused. "Who?" "He helped me," Luna said proudly. "He's the one I told you about. The man who offered me a toy." Ariana's eyes widened. "Mr. Grant?" she asked, recognizing him now. I didn't know." "It's okay," he said gently. "You came to me today looking for a job. And I failed you. I let a system turn away a mother trying to survive." Tears welled in her eyes again. "I just wanted to give her a better life." "You still can," he said. "Come in tomorrow. We'll find a role for you. A real one. You won't have to beg for work again." She nodded, speechless. Luna slipped her hand into Alex's. "Can we be friends now?" she asked. He smiled through the lump in his throat. "I'd be honored." That night, Alex returned to his empty penthouse. But something felt different. The echo of loneliness was no longer deafening. He sat down and opened an old photo album filled with pictures of his wife. "You always wanted a daughter," he whispered. "Maybe I just met her." Luna and Ariana didn't just become another charity case to him. Over the weeks that followed, their lives intertwined in ways none of them could have predicted. But that, dear viewers, is only the beginning. Hook, if you thought Chapter 1 was emotional, what happens next will take your breath away. A little girl's innocent wish for a father leads to a life neither she nor a lonely millionaire ever imagined. Stay with us till the end, and if this story moves you, don't forget to like and subscribe. Because real stories like these deserve to be heard. The next morning arrived with golden sunlight breaking through the clouds as if even the sky had been waiting for a new beginning. Alexander Grant, known for never missing a single shareholder meeting, did something unheard of. He skipped the first 2 hours of his day. Instead, he stood by his kitchen island, carefully making peanut butter and jelly sandwiches with the crusts cut off, just like Luna had said she liked them. The bread was a little too fancy, and the peanut butter cost more than it should, but he smiled anyway. There was something healing in this strange domestic task, something he hadn't felt in years. He hadn't smiled at nothing in a long time. At exactly 9 a.m., Ariana Ellis arrived at the towering glass headquarters of Grant Enterprises, holding Luna's hand. Her hair was brushed back neatly, and her daughter's backpack had been wiped clean of yesterday's dirt. There was nervousness in her steps, but it was wrapped in a quiet determination, the kind only mothers who've faced real storms ever wear. The receptionist who had seen her leave in tears the day before now greeted her with warm surprise. "Mr. Grant is expecting you," she said with a soft smile. Alex stood up the moment they walked into his office. He wore no tie, his sleeves were rolled up, and he looked more like a man trying to be human than a CEO wielding empires. "Good morning," he greeted, his eyes lingering on Luna, who beamed and waved shyly. "I hope you're both hungry," he added, gesturing to the breakfast tray he'd awkwardly prepared. Ariana blinked. "You made breakfast. Let's just say, I've had a very strange but enlightening 24 hours. They ate quietly, Luna sharing funny stories about her imaginary friends and the tiny plant she was growing in a jar at home. Alex listened as if her every word was poetry. After breakfast, he asked his assistant to show Ariana around the building and introduce her to her new team in the Human Resources Department. It wasn't charity, it was opportunity. Alex had spoken to the department head himself, insisting she be placed somewhere she could learn and grow without being judged for her resume. As they left, Luna looked back at Alex. "Will I see you again?" she asked innocently. He knelt beside her and smiled. "You'll see me all the time. We're friends now, remember?" That afternoon, he couldn't focus on work. Every time he passed the break room, he wondered if Ariana was okay. Every time he saw a child's drawing pinned on someone's cubicle, he thought of Luna's stick figure family, waiting for someone to fill the space beside her. Days turned into weeks. Luna started spending more time at the office after school, quietly coloring in a corner of her mom's small office. Alex began stopping by just to chat. He brought her puzzles, paper for drawing, and once, after much internal debate, a stuffed bear he named Mr. CEO. She giggled for a full minute. One rainy Friday, much like the day they first met, Alex offered to drive them home. Their apartment was small but tidy, filled with warmth and the smell of cinnamon candles. Luna proudly showed him her plant in the jar, now grown into a tiny sprout. "It's gonna be a sunflower," she said. "I believe it," he replied, touched. As Ariana walked him to the door, she hesitated. "You don't have to keep helping us," she said softly. "We're grateful, but I don't want you to feel like we're a burden." Alex turned to her, and for the first time in years, his voice cracked with honesty. "You're not a burden. You're the first people who've made me feel human again." Their eyes met, and something unspoken passed between them. It wasn't romance, not yet, but something deeper. Recognition, healing, hope. A few days later, Luna got sick. A bad fever kept her in bed for 2 days. Ariana couldn't afford to miss work, and Alex, without hesitation, offered to stay with Luna while Ariana went in. "Are you sure?" she asked. "I've never been more sure," he said. Luna lay curled on the couch, her little face flushed with fever. Alex placed a cool cloth on her forehead, read her stories, and sat with her through the night. At one point, she stirred and mumbled, "You'd be a good dad." Alex's heart shattered and mended all at once. "I don't know how," he whispered. "But I'd try. For you, I'd try." When Ariana returned, she found them both asleep, Luna curled in his arms, and Alex holding her like something he'd been missing all his life. Over time, the walls Alex had built around himself began to crumble. He started volunteering on weekends, donating to shelters under Luna's name, and restructuring company policies to be more inclusive of single parents. He even set up a small daycare in the office. All because one little girl had said she didn't want toys. She wanted a dad. One Sunday afternoon, during a picnic in the park, Luna ran off chasing butterflies while Ariana and Alex sat on a blanket nearby. The air was filled with laughter and the smell of fresh bread. "You've changed," Ariana said, watching him. "So have you," he replied. Then after a pause, he asked, "Would it be too soon if I said I don't just want to be your daughter's friend?" Ariana looked at him, her eyes searching. "She already calls you her hero. But I want to be more than that," he said. "Not just to her, but to you, too. I want to be part of your lives, if you'll let me." Tears filled her eyes. "Are you sure?" "I've never been more sure of anything," he replied. They didn't need grand gestures or candlelit dinners. In that moment, surrounded by grass stains, butterfly wings, and the sound of a little girl's giggle, something sacred bloomed between them. A new family, one born not of blood, but of choice, of love, and of healing. Months later, Alex officially adopted Luna. She walked down the courthouse steps holding both their hands, her smile as wide as the sun. Reporters had come, the story of the lonely CEO and the little girl who changed his life now public and viral. But Alex didn't care about the headlines. All he cared about was Luna's hand in his, and Ariana beside him. That night, as they sat together watching Luna drift to sleep, Alex whispered, "She once asked me for a dad. But I think it was me who got the real gift." Ariana smiled, laying her head on his shoulder. "Maybe you both saved each other."